Hello guys and welcome back to Scary Stories with Dudey Rhino. If you would like your scary story read out in one of these episodes, please don't hesitate to email me in full at dudeystories@gmail.com. The longer, the more detailed, the better. Okay, so today we are going to start with the exorcism in Blessed Virgin Mary Church in Zadar, Croatia. Hi Dudey. Got one for you. True story. This is in the Boric neighbourhood of Zadar, my hometown, a beautiful coastline city in Croatia. When I was around 9 years old, which is now about 20 years ago, my mom and sister and I used to go to these neo-catechumenal church get-togethers. It was sort of like a liturgy plus a hippie-style hangout. There's discussions, a lot of people singing and playing music, people writing and performing their own songs. Good stuff like that. There was this thing that in English is called laying on of hands, where a priest blesses people by laying their hands on people's heads. This blessing is considered to have a divine and healing effect on the follower. It could further your connection to God, and in rare cases remove disabilities, like blind people could start seeing again, or crippled people could begin to walk again. Although I only saw this happen once in a huge ceremony outside of town, and it might have been faked. Only certain priests can do this and need to be licensed by the church, meaning the church hierarchy extending up to the Vatican, and this same thing applies to exorcisms. So there were a lot of people that hoped to treat their illnesses or disabilities this way. Now I was secretly atheist as a kid, right now I'm agnostic, and I considered most of it bullshit. It was clear most of it was for show, as people pretended to fall in trance and lay on the floor or start speaking in tongues as if to show off they are special or divine. As for laying on the floor, I just did it because everyone else was doing it. I mean, it'd be stupid to just walk away like a total infidel or some kind of God's reject. But it was clear there were some nutcases and fanatics there, like there was this old guy who set me and my sister aside to tell us he knows the naughty things we do when we're alone and how we should be ashamed of ourselves. This gave me an instantaneous paedophile red flag. Anyway, there was this 16 or 17-year-old girl who seemed pretty depressed. Every now and then she would be compelled to get outside to cry alone and someone would comfort her. I felt really bad for her and I wanted to help, but I had selective mutism and I was extremely shy. She was considered troubled, and there were rumours of her taking drugs, and that she's listening to rock music like The Doors and such. And from a religious fanatic perspective, that was considered satanic, and everyone kind of gave her the stink eye. Her mum made her go take the blessing from the priest, and she was pretty nervous. As the priest laid hands on her and my godfather, who regularly assisted him, stood behind her to mitigate her fall in case she got into a trance, she started shaking and twitching her hands around, and she caught everyone's attention, and people have started to feel uneasy. This sort of mild back and forth struggle between them looked disturbing, and although people were still playing the music, there was this really bad vibe in the air, and I had a knot in my stomach. The priest pressed on, and she was subdued to the ground and started mumbling and quietly growling. I was scared, as many of the people were, and a lot of them started to leave the room and chill outside. As I was leaving, I saw her kicking and punching our priest, and a few people who were regularly assisting the priest in organising these events held her down so she wouldn't hurt him or herself. She was now growling really loud, and honestly, it felt like the real deal. It was just emotionally painful to watch. We went outside and heard the girl starting to scream with this demonic type of voice in some unknown language. Or it could have just been gibberish that sounded like it made some sense in that particular way. And the priest was also shouting to have the demon reveal his name. It was pretty much a stereotypical exorcism scene, minus the supernatural part, like floating. Having watched a lot of movies as a kid, we were kind of gossiping amongst each other if it's possible that the demon would try to get inside of us, so we felt this anxiety about what might happen next, and we were glad that our parents agreed to end the night and go home. I was moderately scared for the rest of the evening, and in future ceremonies, I was kind of both anxious and excited if this might happen again. It did happen once more with an older lady in the large main church hall, but I only saw a little of it, and it seemed like a milder thing at the time. Looking at this skeptically, this could have all been faked, and being an extreme metalhead in my teen years, I know how bad we can sound if we try hard enough. I mean, just look at Cradle of Filth, for example. But why would anyone do this? If this was some sort of prank, there is still no denying the fact that the girl had issues, and you could empathetically tell she was depressed and certainly would not have been in the mood to play such a prank and potentially embarrass herself in front of so many neighbours and her own mother. It just doesn't seem worth it. If it was all some big time church fraud, why would anyone invest time and effort into swaying less than 100 people in a small town? I could get psychological issues, but none of them explain the stereotypical possession-like behaviour. It's not like epilepsy causes you to growl in gibberish or demonic languages or some shit. That's it from me. Let me know if you have any questions or you'd like me to fill in with something. Cheers and all the best from Croatia. That was Ivan Ivkovic. Thank you so much for that story. Very, very creepy stuff. Was the girl indeed possessed? I have to say, going off of what you've put in your email here, personally, I would be inclined to believe that would be the case, because you make a fantastic point. You know, the girl was clearly depressed, and would she want to put herself through the embarrassment of, you know, trying to prank everyone around her, you know? But what do you guys think down below? I really would love to know, guys. If you want to hear more stories like this one, if you want your story heard in the next episode, then please do email me, dudestories@gmail.com. Thank you so much, guys. I really enjoy doing these. I really enjoy reading your stories. They are amazing. Keep them coming. And I'll be back very soon with another episode of Scary Stories with Dudey Rhino.